This playthrough is rated M for mature.
Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. Vauldemare here, and the mail has come in, and this time it's Crimes and Punishment, The Journeys of Sherlock Holmes by Focus Interactive and Frogwares Games. Well, pretty straightforward, isn't it? Press A to go. I guess it's loading up the save. So, this is a series, one of the latest in a series of games that Frogware has published under the Sherlock Holmes title. So these are basically new adventure games based on the Sherlock Holmes character created by Arthur Conan Doyle back in the 1900s. Actually, no, it was a little earlier than that, late 1800s as well. Basically, as far as I understand it, these are just new adventures with the Sherlock Holmes character that some of them may be based off mysteries that Conan Doyle had written and stuff like that, but this is Frogware's take on the story. I wouldn't call them perfect games, but I think they do a pretty decent job of presenting Sherlock Holmes and like what his character in Watson would have been in the books. They've done some pretty interesting games. Before this one, they did one where Sherlock Holmes is introduced into the Cthulhu mythos. They did one where he meets Arsène Lupin, which is the famous French thief, and other such stories as that. So, I have not read or done any research about this, so of course this game is supposed to be dark, but my TV's brightness is not. Try to get it to where I can see everything, but keep the kind of ambiance of let's keep it at 50. Sounds about right. Voices probably should be a little higher just so I can actually hear them when they're talking. Doesn't sound too loud. I'll leave it at that, and then as I play the game, I might make some. So I don't want inverted. Yeah, leave subtitles on. Oh, okay, it's just the controls. I bet the game will probably give me an introduction to this too, but let's see. Open deduction space, third to first-person view. Perform actions open. I heard the difference on this one opposed to the other games is that this is a little bit more free roaming from what I've heard. And you can already, no, that's a bad sign when you can already choose the credits from the very beginning. Not really. This is basically a point-and-click adventure game, pretty much. I mean, so from what I understand, but I've heard it's got a little bit more of an open roam feel from the general consensus. But like I said, I haven't really read much on it except for like when they were talking about it a long time ago. Obviously, it didn't get the greatest reviews, which is probably why I'm playing it. But we'll see what happens. You know, I usually like these games, so I might have a little bias to them just because of what they are. So, all right, let's begin. Well, that was kind of interesting. It showed it mentioned some of the characters. I'm surprised that it mentions Mycroft. Mycroft is only mentioned in the previous games. He's only kind of mentioned by name, but never actually seen. So this will be the first time we actually see Mycroft. And for those who don't know, Mycroft is Holmes's older brother, who's actually smarter than him. But the difference between the two is that other than being smarter, is Mycroft's actually kind of lazy and he works for the government. That's why usually Sherlock Holmes gets more recognition than he does. Oh, jeez. Holmes is trying to, like, take us out. We gotta get to the cover before Holmes shoots our asses. Although, if you read the books, Holmes is kind of crazy. Ah. Is that just the weird random function in the game, taking cover?
You are utterly mad. Stop, Holmes!
Is that you, Watson?
Yes, of course it is. And you almost killed me.
Nonsense. I was aiming for the vases.
Blindfolded?
Watson, quiet, please. I'm trying to concentrate. Ah, Lestrade. What is it this time?
He can see me. Well, here it is, and it's a good one, Mr. Holmes. A gentleman by the name of Peter Carey, also known as Black Peter, has been murdered.
A sailor, most probably.
What happened here?
Oh, Mr. Holmes, how could you?
It's the only exercise I've had all week. A grateful client from Limoges sent me a vase collection this morning. I couldn't think of a better use for it.
You're out of your mind.
I missed 4 out of 10.
Given you were blindfolded, that was very good. Can I have a try?
Am I the only sane one here?
I suppose that Watson is right, Inspector. A little brain work would be preferable now. Do please tell us more about Black Peter.
Peter Carey, born in 1845 and 50 years old. An ambitious sort, he achieved much success in seal and whale hunting around Scandinavia. Retired in 1884 with a small fortune. He invested his money in a property called Woodman's Lee, near Forest Row in Sussex. It was where he lived for 6 years, and where he was found dead yesterday.
Has the investigation already begun?
Yes and no. In fact, this crime is so mysterious that I would prefer you to join me down there.
Give me half an hour to prepare, Inspector.
Take your time and join me there. I have to go through the yard first. The Medi men struck again.
What have they done this time?
They robbed a powder reserve. I'll meet you at Woodman's Lee, Mr. Holmes.
I should help Mrs. Hudson here. I also have several appointments that I must keep this afternoon.
I shall go alone, then.
All right then. Well, with our new case in hand, let's explore Mr. Holmes's abode at Baker Street. Was it 221 Baker Street? Yeah. It's been a while since I've read the book, so let's see. X2, open casebook and check your current investigation, task evidence, and so forth. Alright, so task. We need to investigate the murder of Peter Carey, investigate the crimes of St. Woodman Lee, select a suit to wear using your personal wardrobe, and join Lestrade at Woodsman Lee. Pays a visit. So this is how the chapters. Here's the chance for us to quick travel, because we're obviously not going to walk through all of London. That would be a little crazy. That would take forever. Evidence. These are evidence of the characters. See. Okay, that's pretty much what we've been told already. These are all the notes, because it's a point-and-click adventure game. We'll need notes and information to solve the puzzles of the game. You can also go over dialogue if you missed something or whatever, or you missed a clue, which I don't remember these games being super hard, so that might not be necessary, but it's a nice thing to check, like if you forgot something or whatever. We'll knock these down later. Okay, anyway, let's get us some thing. Now, obviously, first thing to note is that the graphics are not the smoothest for a game for Xbox 360. Obviously, that was not their intent,
My
so I
analysis
give it a...
table. It is useful for my work.
Although I do like the voice actors they got for Holmes and Watson. They've used the same ones for all their games, so they're... Well then, Mr. Holmes, aren't you an interesting fellow? Or maybe that's just making fun of us for trying to
You go along
peek.
to Peter Carey's house. Mrs. Hudson and I will take care of the mess you've made here.
Let's see, there is a... Okay. Hopefully that'll be a little bit smoother. I think I'll keep to this because most of the other games were in first-person view. So every time you switch to a new character in the other games, you would switch. I don't know if it's just as fast. Seems quicker if I'm in first-person mode.
What a terrible mess!
Okay, so I need to... see, is this my room? Okay. Well, let's see what Dr. Watson has. We'll do a bit of exploring before we go into the game. Sometimes it'll give references to old mysteries or cases when you play these games, just as little nods to it. Kind of like if you played the Arsene Lupin game, it mentions the Call Cthulhu statue where it has the visage of Cthulhu, I think it is actually at the end of it in the game. I don't think it's in this game though, because that was quite a few games back, but...
This is where I keep my post.
Yeah. And as far as I know, they basically, in every single version of their game Frogwares done, is the office is pretty much the same design every time, just moved around maybe slightly, but it's not like some games where some places will completely change from game to game because they have more graphics or whatever, so at least like the consistency. Ah, the makeup table. Holmes is known for doing major makeup adjustments throughout the books and stuff like that, kind of like the Hound of the Baskervilles story and so forth and so on, where he'll actually get into the nitty-gritty of it, usually not telling anyone, because Holmes is kind of a dick like that in the books. Let's see, how do I want Mr. Holmes to look at this game? Give him his top hat, because in the modern games they've been giving him this hat instead of the his old detective hat that he's known for. Bowler. I'm not familiar with all the hat names, so you'll have to forgive me. Now let's give him his coonskin hat. Why not? Give him a little classic look. I don't remember him being known for glasses. Do you want to give him facial hair? Ooh, it looks like something from YMCA. You know, maybe give him the twirly mustache. Holmes just looks weird in anything but his... Why did they give him the option to choose his, like... Oh, maybe there are missions where he can actually put on facial hair and stuff like that, but... Yeah, right now we'll keep him regular. Some of the makeup options you have currently are not... Oh, gotcha. Okay, well, we'll just... We'll send him back to normal then. I did not know that. We'll leave him as is then for now. Anyway, okay. Well, when the game lets me, I'll do it. Okay, so I need to do that. Anything else I need to check before I can go? Oh, there's this tea set. And obviously, unlike all games, Holmes, if he's not on a case, is severely depressed and kind of messy as a person. I mean, why do you think? I mean, if you read the books, he snorts cocaine. When he's not on a case, because that's how his brain is. It needs stimulation. So without it, he needs something. So that's why he turns to drugs. Kind of an interesting little, for those who don't know, that's actually a thing. Let's see. How do we want to dress Mr. Holmes? A bandit outfit, huh? Or a farmer? Okay, right. I can't actually wear a lot of these. Okay, well, let's choose one that I can wear. I'm partial to blue if it'll let me wear blue. Yeah, that's good. We'll wear that to our little abode, to our meeting with Lestrade. Okay, let's go meet him. We've spent too much time in our house already. The action, folks, the action. All right, Woodman's Lee. Now, by the way, since it is an adventure game, there is going to be a ton of audio and basically talking and exploring and stuff like that. So there is, as far as I know, there's going to be little to no action. There may be some tense moments where you're trying to chase down a criminal or something like that, but I really doubt it. So don't expect any, massive gunfights or anything like that. Although I think there was some fighting in the previous game, if I remember correctly. One day, maybe I'll do that one
Mr.
day.
Holmes, I'm over here. Come on.
Okay, but anyway, in the previous one, I think there actually was a previous game. Oh, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was when Holmes was kind convinced of a crime he didn't, or people thought he
Mr.
was the
Holmes?
one who was doing the crime or something like that. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's the whole kind of he gets blamed for it and people really think he did it type of thing. So I liked it. I mean, it was an interesting way of doing Sherlock Holmes. You know, like one of the interesting stories, because I don't think in any previous stories had Holmes had been occurred to that trope where, you know, the main character gets blamed for it type of thing. I guess I should just go talk to Lestrade, because there's really no reason to look around until the game tells me otherwise. Ooh. What a fancy place. Hello, Lestrade.
Inspector Lestrade, when will you remove my husband's body? It's sacrilegious to leave him here like this.
As soon as we can, Mrs. Carey, I assure you. Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Sherlock Holmes. He's a detective. No doubt you've heard of him. I'll wait for you in front of the cabin, Mr. Holmes.
My condolences, Mrs. Carey.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Is there anything unusual about... What is it? Anything unusual about that
Madam,
night?
can you tell me if you saw or heard anything unusual upon the night of the murder?
At 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard a terrible scream. I thought nothing of it then. He would scream all the time when he was drunk.
So he's a drunkard, huh? Evening before the murder.
Can you please tell me what occurred on the evening of the murder?
Well, Peter got drunk in the evening. He was in such a terrible temper. Usually whenever that happened, he'd stay all night drinking in his cabin before passing out.
Oh, by the way, if anyone's expecting like a Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock Holmes, yeah, we're not going to be getting that here in this game.
Do you remember
Sorry,
at what
you
time
Sherlock
you
fans.
found your husband's body?
In the morning, at around 7 o'clock, I noticed the cabin door was open, but I didn't go in to take a look, for I knew my husband would not have liked it. At around 10 o'clock, I dared to glance in through the door and... oh dear.
Isn't it kind of sad how most mystery games have to deal with murder being the main plot? You can't, like, it's like you have to do that, otherwise people won't be invested. It's like, oh, my jewels are stolen. Everyone's like, I don't care about your jewels. Someone got murdered. I gotta find out about him. Did he have
Was your
visitors?
husband accustomed to receiving visitors?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, he didn't really have many friends. He lived quite an isolated life here, after his retirement.
By the way, this is a very slow-paced game, so if anyone's expecting anything faster than that, like I mentioned earlier, that's not going to happen.
The
Here.
garden
It's very
is
slow.
large and well maintained. Do you employ someone to look after it?
It is true, there is a lot of work, but my husband took care of it himself.
Uh-oh, now that he's gone. That's bad news bears for you, lady. I guess we're going to investigate or make sure she's telling the truth or something? I assume maybe we're trying to look for something like any notes or questionable things, like, you know, because Holmes is one of those guys that's he'll basically he's kind of like, I wouldn't say he's a terrible person, but he does suffer from like he'll treat people poorly if he needs to get like the information he needs, for example, you know. It's a birdhouse, her pendant. I don't see anything else. Oh, looks like we're missing a couple of things, actually. Hello? Got a Catholic rose. So we're missing 2 things. And this is, I assume this is supposed to be basically Holmes, like, focusing while everything's going on, so. Because he's one of those types of guys. He'll analyze you within so many seconds.
You have indeed suffered a great loss, Mrs. Carey. Nevertheless, I believe it will be less of a burden for you soon.
Yes, life with Peter was never easy, but he was still my husband.
He was different, wasn't he, when you first met him upon your return from Plymouth?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Oh my goodness, but how do you know about that?
Let's see, what? Choose the evidence that confronts the statement of character in order to continue. So, how do you know about Plymouth? Pilgrimage, well-kept garden, profile of the victim. I'm not a very smart person, so I may mess up from time to time. I don't think that affects a whole lot, other than, you know, that you're supposed to be basically Sherlock Holmes and everything like that. How would I know about? Why would a well-kept garden? Because he's a okay. There's a character portrait for her who's a okay, sorry. Somewhere near the ancient bird, she is religious, undertook the pilgrimage to interesting.
You undertook a pilgrimage to the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela when you were young. That much is evident from the rosary in your hand. The shortest route for the pilgrim from England to Spain is from Plymouth. I believe that you met Peter Carey as a young sailor there, and you married him soon afterwards.
That is indeed what happened, Mr. Holmes. How extraordinary.
Thank you, madam.
I am so smart. I am so smart. S-M-R-T, I mean S-M-A-R-T. I've heard there are actually people that can actually use their brains for quick analysis, like Holmes. Like it's not actually unique. Well, it is. I wouldn't call it unique, but it is a rare function for certain brains to be able to put patterns together quickly. Although in Holmes' case, he seems to be just on the ball like 24/7 when it comes to that stuff.
The garden was well maintained.
At least in most cases. That was like green means I've already checked it once, and we've already talked to her. So, concentrating on finding other details. Oh. Interesting. Oop.
These
So we've made footprints
appear
now.
to be quite large.
I don't even think I need to be doing this yet, but I've pointed it out, so. Hold on, there's a X. Oh, maybe that was a clues function where I'm just like. So I need evidence to figure out what
appear to be quite large.
So one of the so I'm basically getting ahead of myself. It seems like the game's telling me I can do stuff like this, but I haven't given a reason to actually do this. So let me talk to Lestrade first, and then maybe we'll get an idea of what I need to do.
The cabin. We took care not to touch anything.
It's kind of like some adventure games where you could actually do that. You could find stuff and pick it up for no reason. You're like, why do I need this? Which I'd rather the game let you pick it up than forcing you to hit a function first.
Wait just a moment, Mr. Holmes, and I'll open it. I locked it yesterday to ensure that no one should enter the cabin and tamper with the evidence.
Ah, good thinking.
Hello, hello, hello.
What is it, Lestrade?
It seems to me that someone has tried to force it, Mr. Holmes.
Let me see.
Let me look at it with my eagle vision. Vision. My concentration. Oh, scratches.
These scratches are fresh.
So someone tried to lockpick
Right.
it then?
Someone tried to force open the door.
I swear these scratches were not here yesterday.
Our mysterious visitor came here last night.
Well, he's not the man for the job. This lock is not a difficult one.
Perhaps he did not have the right tool.
Did he over-accentuate the use of tool? Well, Sherlock has learned a couple of things, and the game is clearly afoot. Although, you know, actually, did he actually ever say that in the books? I don't think he actually ever says that. If I remember that being actually a little thing. Well, I'm gonna say it just because it's fun to say. So the game is afoot. So in the next episode of Crimes and Punishment, Sherlock Holmes, we'll find out. We'll try to find some information about Peter Carey, see about his murder, and perhaps giving his widow some closure in her olden days. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.